This spot right here is the centre of England, in the village of Meriden in the West Midlands, 5 miles west of Coventry and historically part of Warwickshire. For over 500 years the stone cross has stood in the village and has laid claim to the centre point of England. It even has its own plaque commemorating the subject. But hang on a minute, I thought I read once before that this oak tree in Leamington Spa, Warwickshire was the centre of England. Well, this one in fact is the successor tree to a centuries-old oak, the Midland oak, which was cut down in 1967. At some point in history, as the plaque states, it was reputed to be the centre of England. But which is correct? The justification for the village of Meriden seems to be the farthest point from the sea in England was once believed to be within the parish. And it isn't really known why the tree in Leamington Spa became associated with the claim. Both examples, however, in the 21st century don't even stand in their original locations. The cross in Meriden was moved to a more central position on the village green to coincide with the Festival of Britain in 1951, and after the original Midland oak was cut down in the 60s, a new one was planted about 40 yards northeast, and the original one standing where the adjacent roundabout is today. Hang on a minute, I just remembered that in 2002 I sat down with a coffee to read John Timpson's Other England, where it mentions that High Cross on the border between Leicestershire and Warwickshire laid claim to being the centre of Roman Britain, because it's where the crossroads of 2 Roman roads, Watling Street and Fosse Way, was situated. Yet another claimant. But then of course, England didn't exist for about another 900 years. Well, as you've probably guessed, neither are true. And in 2002, the Ordnance Survey set out to determine the exact geographical centre of England, calculating the spot using global satellite positioning. And this is what they came up with. It's positioned on farmland near Lindley Hall Farm, over there somewhere, which is in Leicestershire, but only just. It's about half a mile from its border with Warwickshire, which you can see running adjacent with the A5, which follows the route of famous Roman road Watling Street. In 2014, a railway sleeper with a plaque attached was installed as a monument next to a hedgerow and points towards the precise spot which lies 492 feet west in a crop field. It is suggested that the owners could be open to attract tourism in the future. I wonder if that does happen, whether they'll end up moving the sleeper to the exact coordinates.
And it's great that we've now got to the point where the official centre of England has finally been marked.
The slightly inconvenient thing for people interested in this sort of thing is the lack of public footpaths. Now, I've been walking up this footpath hoping to get as close to the centre of England as I could, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's an actual footpath anymore. I've just been walking down this track and it's led me to private property at a dead end, so yeah, it's a bit annoying really. I mean, of course I could have done a geo-wizard and just bombed it in a straight line towards the plinth, but I don't know, my inexperience hopping barbed wire fences would have probably proved disastrous. No. I'm nearby. I'm as close as I can get, technically. The reason the footpaths seem to no longer be accessible, I think, is due to the existence of the Motor Industry Research Association, formerly RAF Lindley, which popped up in the 1940s. Ooh, what's going on there then? That looks intriguing. I think I'm actually getting nearer and nearer to it. The most central derelict building in the country. Probably. Later on I consulted side-by-side maps and discovered that this place is called Fives Court, and although a vacant piece of land in the late Victorian period, it pops up on later maps as it wasn't built until 1931. From what I gather, it was built by local World War I hero Cecil Knox, who was later a civil engineer, but the building sadly suffered a devastating fire in 2003 whilst in the process of being renovated. There'd have to be one hell of a renovation now to get that back to its former glory. I bet this beast here is of a similar age to the original Midland oak. Let's give it a pat. Got some girth, he has. Seen a bit happen. How long until he's looking at houses? I'll take an acorn from the nearest I could get to the very centre of England. How about that? Souvenir. I don't think it's even ripe yet, is it? But oh well. I mentioned before how people once considered the farthest point from the sea to reside in the parish of Meriden, hence the idea that it was the centre of England. But it was Coton in the Elms in Derbyshire, which was calculated by the Ordnance Survey using the same method, again, satellite positioning, as being the farthest point from a coastline, not only in England, but the whole of the United Kingdom. Southeast of the village, in fact, on Church Flats Farm. The road to nowhere. And then that, a luscious cornfield. Maybe it was a farmer with a bit of money and wanted his access to be like that of no other farmer in the land. But anyway, I do make a habit of finishing these videos at a pub. So that's got me thinking, what is the nearest pub to Lindley Hall Farm? It doesn't look like there's any in Fenny Drayton. So I suppose it's got to be this one, isn't it? We'll go with this one then. Ending the video at probably the most central pub in England. If you're wondering about the name like I was, the story goes like this. The pub dates back to the 1700s, and at some point the rector of Fenny Drayton decided to call a meeting with churchgoers who had a poor attendance record. It was then decided that a pole would be erected each Sunday. If it fell towards the church, they would attend, but if it fell towards a red gate, then pub it is. Thus, the name was born. I'm not sure why it eventually became one word. So who put the royal in Royal Redgate? It's thought to be something to do with Queen Adelaide, who was in the area frequently, who was consort to William IV. Perhaps she was travelling down Watling Street and stopped for a pint, or maybe she just needed a waz. No one really knows for sure. Come on, what's red and gatish about that? Bloody nothing. Old sign was miles better. A bench in memory of Boudicca, who died near Watling Street. And there it is, the A5 in AD 62. I thought it was 61, but well, near enough, I suppose. Earliest born human that a bench is dedicated to in the UK? Probably not, but anyway. Oh yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this sort of thing, then subscribe if you want. Hopefully be making the videos a bit more regular now. You know, that's not good, that's not very good, is it? But plenty more video ideas in the works. So see you next time.